believe life is a mirror, right? You get what you give. And fingers are not equal. So when you are content without being necessarily laid back, you are at peace. Because at times you work so hard and you don't achieve what you set out to do. But once you can say, I've done my best, and maybe God didn't want it to happen, so let me just let it be, right? So my perspective in life is that life is a mirror. You get what you get, and that you are at peace when you try your best and you're contented with where you are, but you strive, right? So when you don't get some things, you don't flog yourself too much. Some people say I'm laid back. Oh, Aunty Mo, you should be more aggressive, you should be more this, more that. But I'm at a place in my time, in my life, that I know that no matter how much you try to get some things done, it still will not be done because it's not meant to be done. Because I'm a firm believer in God's will being done. I've been very, very fortunate. Yes, they call me a woman of first, but it also puts the responsibility, because I didn't want to put it as pressure. So it puts the responsibility on me to always put my best foot forward, because I know that a lot of people are looking at me, and not a lot of ladies, women especially, have been able to achieve what I have been able to achieve. But I'm competent. I'm not daft. I did very well in school, right? But I know that there's some people who are also as good and not, maybe even better than me. I work hard, but there are also people who work as hard and even harder than me. So yes, I say, yes, I'm competent, I'm able, but I ascribe it to God's grace, right? Because I think it is God that shines the light on you. And I've also been very fortunate in having, in my career, I call him a sponsor, right? Fola Adiola was my sponsor at GT Bank, because he probably saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Like I told you, I was very, very shy. But Fola kept bringing me out. He'll put me on board. He'll tell me to go and represent him at so if he had an occasion that he was supposed to be guest speaker, he'll tell me to go and represent him. And that started making me be more conscious of who I am, making sure that I am ready at any point in time, and honing my skills, because Fola doesn't suffer fools gladly, right? If you know Fola, he does not have any patience for people who can pull their socks up. So I had to make sure that I am competent and I'm ready to fill into the position that he has put me in, and I'm ready to contribute positively, because I don't want to embarrass him. That he had seen that, okay, Mosun, go and sit on the board of ARM, Mosun, go and sit on the board of Magnum Trust. There are other ladies, right? Maybe at a Guarantee Trust Bank, I was the most senior lady at a point in time, because my contemporary started dropping off at a particular point in time, right? But if he didn't see that I was able to thrive, so to say, in the role, right, he wouldn't have been giving me the opportunity. So when opportunities arise, right, I tell my fellow ladies that you have to make sure that you put your best foot forward, because if you don't, you take women so many steps backwards, right? Because it's like, oh, you were appointed to fill that quota. I don't like the word quota. No, I have to ensure that I'm bringing value to whatever position that I find myself. I put my best foot forward, but I think from time to time, we need sponsors to push us forward, because whether we like it or not, we're still in a very, very male-dominated environment. When I left university, I did articleship. We used to call it articleship with Coopers and Library at that time. So that was where I qualified as a chartered accountant. So, but from there, right, I qualified very, very well. I won the best award and the first merit award. So from that point in time, my supervisors started technically grooming me, right? So I'll be on, I led a lot of audits. But, you know, after a while, audit becomes rather monotonous, because in Coopers at that time, you had divisions, and your divisions, you had the same companies that you were auditing. But, you know, you do that for 6 years, it becomes very, very monotonous. And during that period in Coopers, as soon as people qualified, they left. And I was one of the ones that stayed for maybe another 3 years after I qualified. So having stayed 3 years, I was a little bit senior. I was middle management, middle level manager. So I was an assistant manager. So it became very difficult for me to switch my career. So I said, okay, I wanted a change of environment, and banking was the industry that I could go in with the kind of experience that I had. So I went into banking. And when I went into banking, I tell people all the time that I took a level cut. But even more fundamentally, I took a salary cut. You know, audit compared to banking, the salaries are very, very different. So I actually went lower than my audit. But it just tells me that you have to make a decision as to what you want to do and go for it. So it's like about taking a step forward, a step backward, so that you can leap forward. So don't be afraid to look backwards or to move backwards to be able to propel yourself forward. So in my banking career, I'm always a learner, right? I continuously aspire to learn, to improve myself and things like that. So again, I've been fortunate to work in my first banking experience was in Continental Merchant Bank. And I was fortunate to work in a number of departments. So I started with budget and finance, because as an accountant, budget and finance at that time is technically like the accounting department. So obviously I could do very well. I did very well. So I think that was where people started recognizing me, because I remember the first assignment my divisional head gave me, and apparently I did it so much faster and more thoroughly than what they had been doing before. So he came to the banking hall and I said, "Oh, who is this Mosun Belo? Oh, fantastic job." And I thought to myself, this is something I haven't done since I was a trainee accountant. So then people started poaching me, right? So I was poached to corporate finance. Then I didn't stay too long in corporate finance. Then we used to have a leasing department. I went to leasing. Then eventually I ended up with credit and marketing. And from there, I went to GT as one of the foundation staff. Because I'm always learning, I don't mind. I don't mind new departments. A lot of young people, once they acquire certain skills, they don't want to move, because they now think that because they've achieved a certain level of reputation and some skills, and they're performing very, very well, don't let me go into another department that I'll start all over again. That wasn't me, right? I didn't mind. And again, I've been very, very fortunate, because GT kept posting me from place to place. So I was the first head of corporate bank. I've headed practically all the core areas of banking. So I've headed risk management, I've headed investment banking, I've headed transaction services, which is operations, domestic and foreign. I've headed, that's settlement. I've headed transaction services, which is pay and receive. So all the core banking areas I've headed. So both marketing and back office. So once you have that learning perspective at the back of your mind, I don't consider myself a boss. I consider myself a leader. And as a leader, I'm willing to subjugate myself to people that I think I can learn from. So, for example, when I was in settlements, operations, I had never done operations. So I didn't stay in my office for the first few weeks. I stayed on the banking floor, learning the processes one by one. And I tell people, the person that put me through for men was an ET. See, I think I was a deputy general manager at that time. So you have to be humble, right, to learn. So yes, you will learn a lot faster, but my own take at that time is whenever I go into a department, I learn, right? Because you have to be able to, again, add value. You have to come with superior knowledge. Because if you don't know as much or even more than the people that you're supervising, they might pull a wool over your eyes, right? So what are you there for? I tried to learn, so I'm constantly learning. People call me a credit guru, right? But I tell people I've never attended one-day credit program, formal credit program. It is all self-taught. So when I go to when I do training and people tell me, oh, my organization is not sending me on courses, don't wait for your organization to send you on courses. You have to take the decision to improve your career by the horn yourself and say, okay, I will learn this on my own. So I'm always learning, but I'm also always teaching my subordinates because I don't want to do their work. In credit, for example, because credit is so technical, right? I remember when I just joined commercial banking, corporate bank, we do a lot of credit. So that was where I was coming from. And commercial bank, and I said, what is this? So I will call the team lead and say, okay, let me teach you. These are X, Y, Z. This is what you're going to be looking for. So by the time I teach you, your next credit request you bring to me, I want to see a marked improvement. At times, when people don't know, they have this bravado and say, just go and do it, just go and do it. It is my own responsibility to empower. And how do I empower? I give them the skills to be able to perform on the job. So by the time they perform on their job, it makes my own job a lot easier. And, I say that I just love it when my people make me redundant. Because when they make me redundant, I can aspire to bigger and better things. I don't want to stay on the same level forever. So I teach you so that you can come to acquire my own position. And I can, otherwise, I'll just be on the same level forever. So I'm constantly learning and also constantly teaching. Sexual harassment, that is the no for me. When I was in Ibadan, right, my last assignment in GT was the divisional head of the Southwest region, band on the north with Kwara State and on the east with Edo State. So everything in between except Lagos was reporting to me. And I had, female managers. And one day, one of my managers, Janet, came and said that the commissioner said she should come and meet him at a guest house at an odd hour. And I said, see, we won't make budget. Because, you know what will happen now. So he wants you to do something. And in GT, we'll say we sell our brain, it's not our body. Right? I said, you know what? Forget it. Don't go. I know in some organizations, the boss will say, it doesn't matter, just go and get it done. But no, for me, it's a no. I'd rather not make the money than put my subordinates at harm's way. Because if they are my daughters, would I want the same for them? So I'm very, very careful. I do not want them to be in a position that they are compromised, right? So that is a no for me. When it comes to promotion, and this is fact of life, where there is only one position and there is a man and a woman that are equally qualified, 90% of the time the man will be given. But I say to myself, right, again, this is why people say I'm very laid back. I don't fight for any position because I believe that sooner or later, my competence will show. It will come to, I don't fight for anything because I believe that whatever is mine will come to me. When the first set of EDs were made in GT, I wasn't one of the first EDs. So 3 men that were my junior, right? So we had an AGM, we had 2 DGMs, and I was a 2-year-old GM. They were the first set of EDs that were made. And people would say, oh, Aunty Mo, it's time for you to leave. Even some of my MD's brothers will call me, Aunty Mo, it's issue, meaning the sun has set. It is time. Oh, the writing is on the wall. You're not reading well. And I would say, I didn't come to this bank because of anybody. And I will not leave because of anybody. And I said, look, a board position is an appointment. It's not a promotion. And people have to distinguish the two. You get promoted, I'm at the peak of where my competence can take me. That is the general manager. Any other thing is an appointment. So they can pick somebody, the minimum level that you can be before you can get an ED position in the bank is an AGM. So they can make a 1-day-old AGM and ED. It is an appointment because it depends on what the organization is looking for. So for me at that time, people thought, oh, she'll be upset, but I wasn't upset. And I remember very clearly, Uncle T, God rest his soul, he was the deputy managing director at that time, came to my office and said, are you upset? I said, Uncle T, people don't believe it, but truly, I am not. And that's the honest truth. I was not upset. And maybe because it's my nature, I remember somebody was saying that, I will fight, I will do this, I will do that. I'm not a fighter, unfortunately. And there were some ladies that actually came to my office and, had it out with me and said, look, Aunty Mo, you're not fighting for us, that it is not just about you. It is about the other ladies coming behind him. And I said, let the ladies do their work, face their work. The reward will come sooner or later. But you can't continue to push. If you push and it doesn't come to be, what will happen? So I didn't take an offense. I didn't do anything. And, but sooner or later, I became the ED. And I believe that was my time, right? Maybe if I had been an ED at that time, the access NED that I became after a year that I retired would not have been open, and I would not have been the first chairman of Access. So God has a way of aligning things to be in their favor. We just have to be patient to see the manifestation of God's work. I hate the concept of let's give a woman because she's a woman. And I'm saying there are a lot of competent women. So we're talking about equity. We are talking about fairness. So what is fair, right? So I'm as competent as another man. Why should the man be chosen because he's a man, right? So if that is feminism, I'm fine with that. So I'm saying I'm as competent, I'm as able, and I'm as able to deliver the kind of results that my male counterpart can deliver. So don't shortchange me because I have boobs. Excuse me, right? So don't shortchange me simply because I'm a woman, right? So we're saying let us be treated equitably. So don't tell me that there are not many, we don't have the numbers. We do have the numbers. So give us our fair share and we will see that we would be able to perform. And let me also tell you, statistically, maybe because I'm a banker, it has been proven that when a woman is on the board or is managing a company, the woman does a lot better. Take the instance of this COVID. Which countries had the least COVID exposures? All the countries were the countries that were female-led, right? Because we're not just looking at the hard figures. We're looking at the humanness and putting those two together. And where people see that you see them for who you they are as people, rather than the means to achieve an objective, they are a lot more lower. You know, let me dial back when I was in the bank as head of corporate bank, commercial bank, right? The group itself was not making money, was not achieving its budget. I had 3 teams that were doing exceedingly well. And these 3 team leads came to me and said, Aunty Mo, because we want you to shine, because you love us and we love you, we will double our budget to make sure that the group achieves its budget. So when you see them and you see that, okay, this person, right? So somebody is ill and you're saying, I don't care what you do, just go and do it. I just don't understand. I don't understand. So you empower them, you treat them as people, but you're also disciplined. People think, oh, Aunty Mo is soft and things like that. But I'm soft, but I'm also very, very disciplined. We'll do the work with the human face. And for me, if that is feminism, I'm fine with it. But just we're demanding that we get what is fair, right? Because we have a lot of women that are competent, that are able, that can do the work as well, if not better than men. That's the future. Remember, from day one that I started, I said I wanted global leaders for tomorrow, right? And how are you going to be a global leader without taking technology into the core of whatever you're doing, right? So from day one that we started, all our children had their laptops. So it's we're building global leaders, and technology is at the forefront of what we're trying to do, right? By the time they leave school, some can have up to 4 Microsoft certifications. You have to have minimum of 1. Try your utmost best and do not lose who you are. Be kind to people, because life is a mirror. You get whatever you put in. Do your best, right? But be kind when you're doing your best as well. Don't trample on people.